and even though I don't have a gaming PC and I'm mostly a PlayStation fan, like I don't want PlayStation to keep the good exclusives away from other places to play. Like, I'm glad that God of War and the first Horizon game came to PC.
Yeah. I think that whole console, Xbox, PlayStation bullshit is just dumb anyways. Like, grow the fuck up.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, come together as a community, a gaming community, fix some of the big problems, and you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But anyways,
Well, the opening of that is at least allowing crossplay, so it is pretty cool that, like, when we were playing whatever games 10 years ago, you never thought you could play your PS3 against somebody else's Xbox 360. Like, it would never ever happen.
And it's weird if you went to a big enough high school. Like, it didn't really happen in where I went to school. It's pretty small, but I think if you had like a big enough high school, that you'd probably base your best friends based on what console you have.
Probably,
right? Yeah. So
it seems like a lot of people that I meet through work here in Alberta anyway, everyone's Xbox. I feel like I'm like the weird guy out that's like always PlayStation.
We're so close-minded here though. We're like, PlayStation is your, I don't want to get into it, but like
not from North America.
So we're very close-minded or redneck here, and our eyes are a little more open-minded than we used to be.
Yeah.
So
Xbox is American.
Yeah, America.
Yeah.
Gotta support North America, even though it's junk. Well, the first Xboxes were pretty good.
The 360, the fail rate on the original 360
that was fucking so trash. Bad. Any Xbox guy, we probably went through 3 or 4 during the 360 phase. You probably own 3 or 4 fucking 360s during that phase. Yeah. They just get the red ring of death, go buy another one.
Oh, I know.
Like,
well, a lot of Albertans that can afford it. Everybody else in the country is probably like waiting, send it back, broken again, send it back, broken again.
No, just throw it in the trash and go get another one.
Do you think so? We talked a little bit about this at one point. I don't know if it was even on our last episode or the episode that didn't actually get recorded properly.
Okay.
Story games, and I know you just said PlayStation has a lot of story games, but I'm talking about like story games where like Telltale or all that kind of shit, right?
I see where you're going.
Do you feel because I know? Do you feel like those games are kind of boring? If you're a hardcore gamer, do you feel like those games are definitely not for a hardcore gamer?
I think there's like I think they're like a gaming phase. Like just like growing up or whatever, you go through phases and styles. And it's like, so maybe one hooked you got interested. Like, I remember Game of Thrones had one.
Yeah.
Years ago. Yeah. And it's like, I think episode 1 and 2 hooked me, and then I kind of went down that road a little bit, and then I get back into what I was doing before.
Yeah.
Like, it's like you just kind of dip your toes in it, but I think it's for a very select group of people maybe that can't play shooters, can't play the hardcore RTS games, like any of the super sweaty stuff.
Yeah,
I think it'd be really good for them stay-at-home moms.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's kind of because I got the wife the True Colors Life is Strange game.
Yeah,
and that's one of the games that I was saying over the holiday. I bought 3 that were a waste of money. One of the 3 games was that one, because even she was just like, "Is this all it is? Like, all you're doing is you're picking conversation choices." And she's like, "Is there actually like fighting or any gameplay?" I'm like, "Well, like, no."
Some of them do though. So the Walking Dead one is pretty action packed.
Oh, really?
You have Walking Dead, and then there was the Wolf Among Us.
Yeah,
the one that's based on that one was pretty cool. Yeah, there's a little more action packed. So there are action
ones that do that,
and it's actually interesting that we're talking about it now. So like, even the original PlayStation and Xbox had a version of those story only type games.
Yeah.
Like, they might not have been choose dialogue and stuff, but it was a lot of just slow paced. You're investigating. I remember one was investigating. I remember this because it's like Theory of a Dead Man was playing in the back. It like was their featured song in this game. I can't even remember.
I see.
If somebody can remember the name of this game, so it's a story game where you're an investigator or something, and the dude's like fucked up in the head, and Theory of a Dead Man, Santa Monica is like the featured song for that game.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It sticks out. Anyways, so they had a version of those games way back in the day.
Yeah. Well, like on PlayStation, there's Heavy Rain, and there's that was PlayStation 3, but on the PS2 there was a game called like Fahrenheit or some weird crap like that, and it was mostly story and choose your own type of path, but really there wasn't much actual like gameplay to it. I just feel like if they're gonna do it put a little bit of gameplay to it. Like I like a lot of even if a lot of PlayStation games are they're narrative heavy and they're very linear. Like Uncharted games are great, but they're very linear. You're going down the same thing that the other guy did, and you're just playing through the story. But sometimes that hits better because there's no way that you can go in a branching path. Oh, this person didn't enjoy going this way.
And you're not overthinking it. You're just along for the ride, which is a cool experience too. Instead of being like, if I fucking choose this, is this going to fuck me up 5 hours from now and then I'm going to regret it? And, like sometimes it's just nice to just play through and basically play an action movie.
Yeah. For sure. That's what I was going to say. When it's an action movie, when you have the controller or something like that, especially Uncharted games were pretty big with pushing that kind of like big set pieces, big explosions, big action happening as you're progressing through the story. Do you think God of War on PC is one of the better looking games you've played?
Not really.
No. What stands above that?
But how old is God of War?
2018.
2018. That's not that old.
No. So I played it on a launch PS4, like a base PS4, and back then it looked pretty good. And I've watched only kind of a bit of your live stream on PC, but that's also compressed.
It is.
I'm not seeing what you're seeing.
No,
on
you
the
don't have a
computer
27-inch screen.
Yeah.
So did you play it in 4K?
No, because I had a base model PS4 that wasn't even 4K.
Yeah, see, now I play in 1080 because I like the frames per second.
Yeah.
And I've been talking about getting a 4K monitor, so I have the two monitors set up, have a 4K for games like God of War, where you're just along for the experience. You're not worried about frames per second playing fucking Warzone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just have the two side by side and have the best of both worlds type shit. But in 1080, I didn't find it impressive. Like, there are segments of it that really are really cool, like when her house comes up out of the ground, that turtle house thing.
Oh yeah,
that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
that was really interesting.
Did you summon I guess you only played a handful of hours,
I only got
right?
to that house so far. I got back on the working train, so just how that grind goes.
Well, like I said, I had a month off. I played some games and then I went back to work for 10 days and I didn't even touch. I don't think I even turned the PS5 on.
So were you in 2018? Were you blown away by God of War?
I was, yeah.
Like graphics. But
that was also, that's PS4, that's obviously towards the end of the PS4 life cycle. But even on this TV, I'm pretty sure so I had a 4K TV, but I just had a base model PS4. It still looked pretty good. I don't think it was mind-blowing, but I think that the way that, the volumetric, clouds and smoke and the little small subtle details like that, look pretty fucking good.
I found the talking scenes, the dialogue scenes, looked worse than the actual gameplay, which is weird to me because it's like if you play Final Fantasy, the dialogue is mind-blowing, as far as graphics goes, and then your gameplay is kind of okay, whatever.
Yeah,
and I found it was the opposite with God of War. I found it looked better when you're fighting and just exploring, and then you get into a dialogue scene and the chick's hair looks like shit.
Yeah.
So
it could be. In some cases they'll do a pre-rendered cutscene. In other cases they'll just use the game's graphics anyway. It's not like they're doing, But it's been number 1 2 weeks in a row on Steam. The God of War has been, which for a PlayStation exclusive, it used to be a PlayStation exclusive.
Do you think it should be number 1? 3 years later, 4 years later?
Well, fact that it's
after you beat it and
yeah. I do. I mean, I feel like that was... I don't remember any other big games coming out in 2018, but that was probably Game of the Year 2018. Because, considering the other God of Wars, the ones before that were nothing like this one, and this was kind of a revamped reimagining of it. It was pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
And you're in for a pretty good story, because it goes pretty far. I think it's 20-25 hours.
That's not bad.
Which is not crazy long, and that's only just the main story.
Is it worth collecting all the side shit, or can I just play the story? Am I going to be screwed 20 hours from now if I don't collect everything?
No.
No? Okay.
No, I wasn't.
I was kind of worried about that.
I forget what they're called, too. There's these certain things that you can fight in the world. You have to find all of them and kill them all, and they're, fucking hard as hell.
Oh, yeah, like mini-bosses.
Yeah. But you have to, they're off the beaten path kind of thing. They're just, you get some sort of armor for killing them. But also, on top of that, God of War PC release, they're going to be releasing Uncharted. So Uncharted 4 and The Lost Legacy, which was the DLC expansion for Uncharted 4, that's coming to PC.
Okay.
So in a few months, you'll be able to play Uncharted 4 if you decide that you want to get it, which was a pretty good game, but I don't know that it really matters if it's on PC or not. I can't really see.
It's not super exciting.
No.
But there's a pretty hardcore crowd for that series, isn't there?
Probably. Yeah. Well, there was. I mean, they sold really well on PlayStation, but are they going to sell well on PC?
Yeah, I'm not.
Who
not
knows?
Sure.
No.
The thing with PCs, like, we're not super desperate for that type of story. It's just God of War has been locked away for so many years. And he's such a badass character.
Yeah.
So it was really exciting when we finally got to get into it and see what everyone else got to experience.
Yeah, I'm pumped that you got to play because you were looking forward to it quite a bit, and like you said, being a father and stuff like that, and seeing the relationship.
I really love that dynamic.
The game,
I'm really into that dynamic.
Yeah, yeah. There's a new Pokemon game that just came out.
Yeah. You got to talk to my old lady about it. I haven't really played it, man.
You got it? She's playing?
Well, she's stuck at the Elite Four. She can't beat it. Apparently, it's like, I looked it up. Apparently, it's like some of the hardest Elite Four ever in a Pokemon series. She can't even beat it.
No shit.
And she's been begging me to beat them for her. And I'm like, no, figure it out.
Yeah. You've been playing it this whole time. You can beat the fucking boss.
Exactly. You should know.
You're
like 20 hours in. You should figure this out.
Yeah. I haven't played a Pokemon in a long time, but this new version of it looks kind of cool.
It does.
I wouldn't mind playing it.
Yeah, I was kind of watching her play. It looks really nice.
Yeah.
I'm glad they got away from that 3D, whatever the hell. Well, it's kind of 3D, but it's not.
Yeah.
I like the graphics.
Yeah, it seems pretty cool.
Yeah. What's your team? What's your favorite fire type?
Oh shit. I don't even. I guess probably water type.
So you were a Squirtle guy back in the day.
Yeah.
Did you go with Squirtle Gen 1?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, because I had Pokemon Blue, and I'm pretty sure I just went Squirtle. Kept it consistent.
See this?
But that was
I think a lot of people chose Squirtle.
Yeah.
But for some reason, it's like your second playthrough, you're like, holy shit, Charmander is a fucking dragon.
Yeah.
When he's done.
Yeah.
And then you're kind of like in love with Charmander.
Well, and a lot of the earlier areas are like all grass Pokemon. So if you pick Charmander, you're just like destroying people.
Yeah. Just
ripping through them.
Yeah.
Do you think Warzone can be saved?
Is Caldera really struggling that bad?
I think a lot of it seems like a lot of the people that stream it pretty often were shitting all over it for a while, and now they're kind of going back to just playing it because that's the only option they have.
There really isn't any better shooters out there, man.
I guess, yeah.
It's pretty slim pickings right now.
That's why if they make Modern Warfare 2 this holiday or something, that'll be a pretty good idea.
Caldera seems alright. Like I know like coworkers and stuff are big into Warzone there. They miss Verdansk pretty hard.
Yeah.
They say they hate Caldera, but I don't know. Like, I haven't tried it, so it's hard. It's hard to give an opinion. Like,
I uninstalled it from the PS5, and I haven't even played it in months and months.
No, I think Rebirth is keeping people alive.
I liked Rebirth when I did play it. That was the only map I played.
It's faster paced.
Yeah,
it's a nice balance of BR and respawn.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
there's a rumor that Halo Infinite is getting Battle Royale.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
After they said they wouldn't, or whatever.
I don't know how true that is. I mean, I feel like why even bother saying you're not going to do something? Like, just leave something open ended, because there'll be some developer and it's like, oh, we're worried you're going to put DLC or make microtransactions in this game, and they're like, no, we have no plans to do that. We're not going to do it. And then like they release it, and then a month later they add all this fucking DLC and all these microtransactions. It just looks bad.
Didn't they do that with Warzone, though? Didn't Modern Warfare drop and then Warzone came out?
Well, Modern Warfare came out, and then a few months later, Warzone as a free-to-play mode came out.
Yeah, so they're kind of following that guidebook.
Plus, if you think about it, Halo Infinite's multiplayer on day one is free for everyone.
Yeah.
So even if they do a battle royale and that's free, it's not like that'll be multiplayer separate. You have to pay for multiplayer and then get battle royale for free. Everything's just free, and except for the campaign.
Yeah, but they're just kind of soaking people for skins, I guess. So
yeah,
that's where they're making their money.
I wouldn't mind it. Like, if they did it well, Halo's gunplay is so nice that it would probably be it's enjoyable.
And they got the vehicles for it too.
Yeah, for sure.
So
they probably almost have to tone some down a little bit.
Yeah, I'd say. Yeah.
There'd be a shitload of people flying around just trying to milk the last circle.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, I got a couple of hard hitters.
Oh no!
A couple of hard hitting questions for you.
Here we go.
They're not hard at all. But they're very in
just
depth.
Going to stoke me out. Now, you're just psychological.
I know exactly
warfare
psychological
now,
warfare. Yeah. You're a few years younger than me. Not like you're that much younger than me.
No, but you're old as fuck though.
Yeah, I'm old as balls.
Yeah.
What was your first console? What was your first console you ever owned in your family?
Original Nintendo.
So it wasn't NES.
Yeah, Dad had one. Yeah.
Interesting. I wonder if that's that much longer after, like, was Super SNES or was the SNES out when you got the Nintendo?
No. We had it pretty well,
OG.
Fort Mac family. We had it pretty quick. Yeah. So.
And what, out of the first console, what was the first game you remember playing?
Original Mario, yeah.
With Duck Hunt?
With Duck Hunt,
yeah. Well, that's annoying. My answer is the exact same as yours.
That is fucking weird, man.
Because, like, the original...
But this is why we're doing a fucking podcast together.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, tied from the same cloth, whatever the fuck that saying is.
Whatever.
I just fucked that up so bad.
Did. Yeah. Yeah, no, mine's the same way. Like, I know that I had a handful of games on NES, but the one I remember playing probably first was... What's weird is I remember playing Mario 2 a lot, even though Mario 2 was shit on.
So did you stick the fucking gun up to the TV when you were playing Duck Hunt?
Yeah.
You fucking cheat.
Yeah. Well, I did, but if I was doing a high score,
never
you never did.
Never
Bullshit.
did. No.
Bullshit.
No.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if that's your first console and first game ever, what's your favorite console and favorite game ever?
Favorite console? That's actually a really hard question.
Yeah. I know, man.
You said you were coming at me.
I told you. And then I phased you by saying I wasn't.
Man. There is something about... There's something about the original Game Boy Advance games.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I
don't know why, but it's like a weird craving every now and then. You have to download an emulator and play those games and you just really enjoy those. Like I used to sit down and play Ruby all the time.
Oh yeah.
On Ruby.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just such a relaxing, fun experience. That whole Game Boy Advance generation.
I wouldn't have thought that for sure. I mean, that's technically.
I like the consoles for how epic they are, how fun multiplayer is and stuff. But there's just something about. I don't know. It's just maybe it's my childhood. I had a Game Boy. It was like maybe my first personal console, and I would just sit in bed with a fucking light over my shoulder because they didn't have a backlit screen.
Yeah.
And you're like have a whole tray of fucking AA batteries sitting beside you, and you just play fucking Pokemon for hours.
Yeah.
I don't know, something nostalgic and calming about it.
For sure.
So
is that also your favorite game then? Is that Pokemon, or you think that?
Yeah, Ruby is pretty good. Yeah.
I had a Game Boy. I had a Game Boy Pocket before it was even color. But for some reason, I never had an Advance. I do have a lot of fond memories of the certain games of Game Boy, like Blue and Red and a couple other ones. Yeah. I would say my favorite console, though, I think PS2 kind of blew my mind at that right age, where you had like Metal Gear Solid 2 on PS2 was just like mind blowing. You had
we would have been at an age where that would have been like really mature games too. So you go from Pokemon to fucking all of a sudden you're playing Metal Gear. Yeah. It was like a big transition stage.
Yeah, and even like PS1, like I played a lot of PS1 games too, but then when they finally came to PS2, it was like much more narrative and story driven, and then also like games like Need for Speed Underground for racing that definitely got me into the PS2. And then you had Final Fantasy X, which was on PS2, and I'm coming from Final Fantasy 7 and 8 and 9. 8 was kind of crap. I wasn't a big fan of 8. But 7 and 9 were some pretty damn good Final Fantasy games.
You played 7 all the way through?
Yeah.
Like all 4 discs
back then? Shit? Yeah, I did for sure.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
How many hours was the original one compared to like today's game? So like Cyberpunk for me was 50 hours.
Yeah.
So what would have been Final Fantasy 7 roughly?
That's a good question. I would say probably... The thing was, there's a lot to do that it wasn't the main story, even for a game back then. I'd probably guess like 50 to 60 hours.
Which would have been a big experience back then.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And then you like swapping discs out and all that stuff.
Which probably made it feel 5 times bigger.
Yeah. I'm going to Google it because I want to know how long it would be.
So was the last boss on disc 4?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you kind of knew you were getting to the end.
Yeah.
That's kind of disappointing.
Actually, sorry. So Final Fantasy 7 was only 3 discs. FF7 was 3 discs, and then FF8 was 4 discs.
Okay.
So when you knew when you put the third disc in, you're like, oh shit.
That's
like
kind of
Yeah,
disappointing. But it might
could,
excite you at the same time, like
yeah.
keep you going, right?
Yeah.
Because you get 40 hours into a game and you're like, shit, when the fuck is this thing gonna end?
It's true. Well, it says about 37 hours. It should take about 37 hours for the main story set across 3 discs.
That's a good amount of time for that type of game.
For sure, yeah. And this was back in 97 or some shit too?
It's a huge experience back then.
Absolutely. Even though discs only held 700 megabytes, so obviously you had to fit. You had to use multiple discs. Whereas now Blu-rays can hold, I think it's 60 or 80 gigs or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, well, considering the old PlayStation memory cards were at 1 megabyte, 2 megabytes.
Yeah.
Were they?
Something like that. They might have been 8 megabytes, but I don't know.
Off a megabyte? Are you fucking kidding me?
I know.
1 fucking megabyte.
Yeah. Think about that. Yeah, exactly. Saving your screenshots to that. That's one screenshot's going to be like 16 megabytes.
Dude, a thumbnail, like a 1080p thumbnail, is like almost a gig or some shit like that. Like it's huge.
Oh, I know.
Like,
it's insane. Storage has become such a big thing. Right on.
That was all your hard hitting questions.
That was it.
I like that favorite console one. Yeah,
I had to make you think about that one.
That was a good question. I enjoyed that.
I feel like you always got to have a little burner in there at the end. You know what I mean? Because there's topics you got to talk about and all that stuff, and then you got to think outside the box.
Yeah.
I think. I also the N64. As a kid, I probably played the ever living piss out of, but I think right after that I went into PS2, and it was wild. PS2 was a wild system. There's a lot of shit going on there.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
You're a couple of years older than me, so maybe you just appreciated it more because because like at that age, a couple of years makes a big difference.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Right on. Well, I think we pretty much got episode 2 in the bag here.
No, that felt pretty good.